you're probably underestimating how fast your money can double. And the worst part? Most people never realize it until it's too late to take advantage of it. But what if I told you there's a simple rule that can predict your financial future? A shortcut used by savvy investors to estimate in seconds how long it will take for their money to double. And you don't need spreadsheets. You don't need a financial advisor. You don't even need a calculator. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Rule of 72, a simple mental math trick that reveals the real power of compound interest. By the end, you'll understand how this rule works, how to use it in your everyday investing decisions, and why applying it correctly can mean the difference between retiring at 55 or still working at 70. Plus, I'll walk you through real examples, including a shocking comparison between two people who both invested the same amount, but one retired with double the wealth, just because they understood this one rule. So let's get into it. The Rule of 72 is one of those concepts that sounds almost too simple. But it's incredibly useful, especially if you want to visualize growth over time without overcomplicating things. Here's how it works. You take the number 72 and divide it by the annual return rate you expect on your investment. That's it. That's how many years it will take your money to double. Let's break that down with a basic example. Say you invest in an index fund that returns 6% per year. You do 73,600. So in 12 years, your money will double. If you start with $10,000, you'll have $20,000 in 12 years. And if you leave it to grow, you'll have $40,000 12 years after that. Then $80,000, then $160,000, all without adding a single extra dollar. That's the beauty of compound interest, and this rule lets you feel its effects instantly, even before you invest a cent. Now you might be asking, why 72? Why not 70 or something simpler? Here's the thing. 72 isn't random. It's actually the best number that gives the most accurate approximation for interest rates between 6% and 10%, which is where most long-term investments tend to land. It's not perfect for every scenario, but it's close enough to give you real practical insight. And that's the key. This rule gives you perspective. It shows you the opportunity cost of waiting. It reveals how small differences in return, just a 1% change, can mean the difference between doubling your money in 9 years versus 12 years. That doesn't sound like a lot. But over a lifetime, that difference is massive. And we'll prove it. In the next part of this video, we'll compare two investors, one who earns 6% and one who earns 9%. They both start with the same amount, invest for the same amount of time, and don't touch their money. The result? One retires with double the wealth of the other. All because of this one number, 72. Let's say two friends, Sarah and Tom, each decide to invest $10,000. Sarah chooses a low-risk investment that earns her 6% per year. Tom, on the other hand, takes a bit more risk and earns 9% annually. Both of them leave their money untouched for 24 years. At 6% using the Rule of 72, Sarah's money doubles every 12 years. So after 24 years, it doubles twice. $10,000, $20,000, $40,000. Tom's money, with a 9% return, doubles every 8 years. So in 24 years, his money doubles 3 times. $10,000, $20,000, $40,000, $80,000. Same timeline, same starting point. But Tom ends up with twice as much. Now imagine if Tom kept going for just one more doubling period, 8 more years. His $80,000 would turn into $160,000. Sarah, in that same time, would still be stuck at $40,000 until year 36. Only then would she reach $80,000. That's an entire doubling cycle behind, just because she earned 3% less per year. This is how the rich get richer, not by working harder, but by understanding how time and return interact. And the Rule of 72 makes that invisible process visible. Here's another example. Let's take a young investor, Mike, who starts investing at 22. He earns 10% annually and wants to know how fast his money can grow. 72 tabas y yinblan. So every 7.2 years, his money doubles. By age 65, Mike has roughly 6 doubling cycles. That means every dollar he invests at 22 can grow 64 times its original value by the time he retires. Now let's say his friend Jake waits until 32 to start. That's just 10 years later, but now he only has 5 doubling cycles. The result, his money only grows 32 times. Same investments, same returns. But because Mike started earlier, he ends up with double the wealth. Time isn't just important in investing, it's everything. And that's where the rule of 72 becomes more than a trick. It becomes a lens to understand the cost of waiting. When people say, "I'll start investing later," what they don't see is that they're not just losing years, they're losing doublings. And every doubling is a multiplier. If you lose just one, your final number could be cut in half. And this isn't just theory. Think about retirement accounts. Think about college savings for your kids. Think about any long-term goal where compounding plays a role. Missing one decision, choosing a 5% return when you could be earning 7%, can cost you hundreds of thousands over a few decades. Now let's flip it. What happens if you park your money in a savings account earning just 1%? That means it would take 72 years to double. Let that sink in. If you put $10,000 in a low-yield account today, you'd have $20,000 in the year 2097. And that's before inflation. At 3% inflation, prices double every 24 years. So while your money finally doubles in 72 years, its purchasing power has been cut in half 3 times. This is how people slowly fall behind while thinking they're being safe. The real danger isn't risk. It's not understanding time. And once you start thinking in doublings, you begin to realize something powerful. Every financial decision you make either brings you closer to a doubling or pushes it further away. And the sooner you see that, the faster you can build a future you don't have to escape from. So now that you understand how the rule of 72 works, how do you actually use it in real life? The first way is simple: comparison. When you're looking at investment options, whether it's a savings account, index fund, bond, or real estate deal, just apply the rule. Ask yourself, how many years would it take to double my money at this rate? If it's over 15 or 20 years, that should raise a red flag. Especially if you're young and have time on your side. You want your money to work faster than inflation, not slower. The second way is goal setting. Let's say you want to double your net worth in the next 10 years. Do the reverse. 72 tektistur 71%. That's the minimum return you need to aim for, after taxes, after fees, after inflation. This gives you clarity. It tells you if your current investment strategy is actually aligned with your goals, or just making you feel safe while quietly wasting time. Another use, detecting lost potential. Every time you leave money sitting in cash or earning 1% in a high-yield account, you can now measure the opportunity cost. It's not just, I'm not investing right now. It's, I'm delaying my next doubling by decades. That changes how you see every dollar. Now, of course, the rule of 72 is a simplification. It doesn't account for taxes, volatility, or reinvested dividends. But that's not the point. The point is, it gets you thinking long-term. It forces you to see money not as a static pile, but as something alive. Something that grows exponentially when given the chance. That shift in mindset is what separates people who build wealth from those who never escape survival mode. Because here's the truth. Most people don't fail financially because they're lazy. They fail because they don't understand the cost of waiting. They save, but they don't invest. They invest, but they settle for mediocrity. They think they have time, when really they're burning their most valuable asset, compound growth. And once you internalize that, every financial decision becomes a doubling opportunity. You stop thinking in terms of dollars and start thinking in terms of timelines. How fast can I get to the next doubling? How can I shave years off that timeline? how many doublings do I have left in my life? Because wealth isn't about having millions. It's about how many times you can flip what you already have, strategically, consistently, and with patience. So the next time someone tells you to play it safe and stick to low-yield savings, just smile, do the math in your head, and ask, how long do you want to wait to double your money? Because now you know the answer. So if this opened your eyes to the power of compound growth, hit that like button so YouTube knows this was worth watching. And if you want more simple but powerful strategies to grow your wealth, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Drop a comment below and tell me, what return are you aiming for? And how many doublings do you want in your lifetime? Because the sooner you start thinking this way, the sooner you start building the future you actually want. And trust me, your future self will thank you for it.